My ex-boyfriend once told me that he thought I loved my cat more than I loved him. At the time, we were still dating, and although that comment caught me off guard, I brushed it off. That same night, he asked if he can take my cat home with him to keep him company on his drive. I told him no, it didn't feel right, but he took him anyway, without asking again. The next morning, he called me. His voice was calm, too calm. He told me that he accidentally left the front door open and my beloved cat had run away. He claims that he had been searching everywhere, but couldn't find him at all. I remember the silence that followed. I didn't even know what to say, but sadly, that wasn't the worst part of our relationship. There were always red flags. He was possessive, jealous, and unstable. But the part that still chills me started with his computer. He was always closing tabs whenever I walked into the room, like clockwork. The screen would go black or shift to something harmless before I had a chance to glance at it. One day, my curiosity got the best of me. While he was in the shower, I checked the browser history. What I found made my skin crawl. He had been looking up graphic material, violent things, tied to serial killers, hidden case files, and even pages from the FBI's most wanted list. But that wasn't the worst of it. He was part of online forums, ones that didn't show up in normal searches. Places filled with anonymous usernames and horrifying conversations. He wasn't just lurking, he was posting, engaging, talking to people. I remember one message in particular. Some people are just born without empathy. Doesn't mean we're broken. That line stuck with me. I ended the relationship soon after. But things didn't just stop there. He tried to confront my brother. He attempted to reach out to my mom. I even got a phone call from a blocked number, a voice I didn't recognize, saying things that made my blood run cold. Eventually, my mom stepped in and put a stop to it. The contact ended, but the damage was done. To anyone wondering why I didn't walk away sooner, I was 18, and he had everyone fooled. Friends, family, even me. He was charming, polite, and calculated. But behind closed doors, I saw a glimpse of something darker. Something I couldn't fully name until it was too late. It started out on my 21st birthday in the early 2000s. I was out celebrating with friends at a local pub when I met this girl, Morgan. Beautiful, funny, confident. She laughed at my jokes, shared my interest, and somehow seemed to know exactly what I liked. From that first night, it felt like fate, but it wasn't. Weeks later, I learned the truth. There was no coincidence. Morgan had seen me months before, working a shift at a retail store. She didn't say a word to me then, but something about me caught her attention. Enough that she learned my name from my name tag, looked me up online, found me, and began following my every move. She read every public post I'd ever make, stalked my social media, joined forums I was actively on, and built a version of herself to match the kind of girl I've always talked about liking. She wasn't my soulmate. She became one. And it worked. We dated, and at first it was great. But soon, the cracks started to show. She'd obsess over tiny things. How I said hello, when I responded, who I followed. Arguments happened daily, always escalating into emotional meltdowns. Every time I tried to pull away, she'd reel me back in. Eventually, I ended it. That's when the late night phone calls began. Always from a private number, just crying. Then came the emails, long emotional rants and strange cryptic messages. I changed my number, my email, deleted old profiles. For months, it was quiet. Well, here's how things got even creepier. I was happy that Morgan seemed to move on. I wanted the best for her and heard from some friends that she moved out of state to pursue her career. I eventually started dating again, meeting girls online, each one perfect in their own way. Different name, faces, and interests, but always something strangely familiar. Always too good to be true. We would talk for weeks, even sometimes months, exchanging pictures and talking on forums for hours. This was the early 2000s, so video chat was not a thing and not common. Eventually getting closer and planning a day to meet up. Same thing every time. When we would schedule a date to meet up, I would never hear from them again. It wasn't until I saw Morgan again, randomly, while home for break, then it came all together. She approached me, calm as ever, and said she needed to talk. What she told me still gives me chills. She admitted she never stopped watching me. She had created dozens of fake accounts, crafted entire personas, and followed me across forums and chat rooms, just to stay close. Every girl I thought I had dated online was her. She had been studying me long before we met, before I even knew she existed. The perfect girlfriend, she built that image like a mask, and I fell for it. I haven't heard from her since, but sometimes, when I get a message from a new follower, I wonder if she's still out there, pretending to be someone else. It all started when I went out of town for my best friend's wedding, where I was her bridesmaid. I didn't bring my boyfriend at the time, per the bride's request. It was her special day and I wanted to make this the best weekend for her. My boyfriend had always been a bit clingy. At first, I found it sweet, harmless even. But looking back, I think being that clingy was something much more darker. What followed was the unraveling of someone I thought I knew. At first, everything seemed fine. We texted back and forth. Though I wasn't responding quickly because, well, I was helping out with the wedding. Then he messaged me out of nowhere saying he felt a sick feeling in his stomach and that he just needed to hear my voice. That message stuck with me. Something about the wording felt off. After that, I couldn't reach him. No text, no calls, just complete silence for 6 hours. I started to spiral. I didn't know if he'd gotten into trouble, if he'd hurt himself, or if something worse had happened. I was 6 hours away and couldn't shake that growing dread that kept building in my chest. My best friend's stepdad, a retired police officer, sat with me and calmly walked me through my options. I ended up requesting a wellness check. The update I got back was eerie. He had been blasting music so loudly the officers could hear it from the hallway. And when they entered the apartment, it was total chaos. Clutter everywhere, food on the counters, and him not being coherent at all. He claimed he was just being tired and needed rest before he cleaned. On the actual day of the ceremony, things escalated again. I left my phone in my bag while helping the bride and groom. When I finally checked it, there were over 10 voicemails and 30 plus texts. Half of them were just strings of nonsense. It looked like someone had just been typing blindly in a panic. The messages didn't stop. They kept coming all weekend. I stopped responding, mostly out of fear. When I got home, that's when things truly felt like something out of a horror movie. My apartment had been completely ransacked. The blinds were torn, the TV was broken, cooking oil had been dumped all over the floor. I had to clean it up myself. Apparently, it was my fault for not being there. He didn't apologize, not once. The only thing he said to me was, "You made me do it. If you hadn't ignored me, none of this would have happened. We're obviously no longer together. And just so you know, this wasn't the only time something like this happened. Just one of many. He'll be 30 next month, and I genuinely fear for whoever ends up dating him next."